and soggy conditions. These cars very light, about 450 kilos, a Lotus 23B, but what you can get them down to, and with probably 180 horsepower, probably make it quite tricky. They certainly don't have a great deal of grip. And as they prepare to go, away they go. Andy Newell, good start from the middle of the front row in the black car. The Bobsey is not well away and is struggling. But coming up wide, Mike Wrigley there on the left of the screen, but it's Chris Goodwin who's got back into the lead, and Andrew Hibberd is up on the inside with the black Lotus 23 with the broader yellow stripe on the nose. Andrew Hibberd going through, trying to take second place from Andy Newell, but Newell gets more grip on the outside. Newell is second. It's the white and red car, the ex-Ashats car of Chris Goodwin who leads. Then we've got Andy Hibberd coming up the inside towards forward. He takes second place from Andy Newell. Mark Owen is fourth. Fifth on the outside is Max Bartels. You've got the two Elvas side by side. Ahead of them, two Lotuses side by side. Hibberd goes through on the inside, gets second place finally at full water. Bruce.
Looking through the spray, not the easiest thing to do here at the circuit. Chris Goodwin leading the way. He's the only one not with headlights on. Everyone else uptight. And talking about uptight, Max Bartel got very close to the tail of Andrew Hibberd there. Very, very tight, very, very greasy. But we have a spinner, number 15, I think it is, in red, spinning round. Yes, so
Robin Ellis.
Robin Ellis, you said he's new to this car and making progress. That's an experience he won't want. He's got to wait for the whole field to come past before he can join.
It's a great opening first few corners for Joe Twyman as well. I think he's up to about 5th. In fact, it might be 4th now.
And there's the battle, resuming between the two black and yellow Lotus 23s of... we can see the one with the bright yellow helmet is on the front of it. That's Andy Newell. Andy Newell taking second place back from Andy Hibberd coming down towards Woodcote Corner. But it's the white and red car which leads, which is Chris Goodwin. Newell second. Hibberd is in third place. But going up the inside is Twyman. Twyman forging the twin-cam powered Elva between the two Lotus 23s. So it's Lotus, Lotus, Elva, Lotus, and then another Elva, and then the Brabham and the Crosley, and the green Lotus 23. I think that is number 2. That's John Pearson coming up well through the order, and he started well down. He started in 17th place. So this is a real fight on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Well, really superb. So Twyman up into second place now. Yeah,
and look too for Mark Owen in the sort of Gulf livery car, if you will, the pale blue and orange Elva. He's up into 5th place, but he gained a couple of positions, came through with Twyman in the latter half of that lap. But Twyman just doesn't seem to mind. There's not much grip out there. He's pedal to the metal, right behind. You can just about make out and the yellow helmet of Andy Newell in 3rd place, car number 36. Hibberd right in behind. And I just mentioned Sam Thomas. He's in the background there. Easy, one of the easier cars to see, bright yellow and green in the background of that shot. But for Chris Goodwin, he's leading as he comes down to the first part of St Mary's, but right on his tail.
Easy.
And sweeping past, easy peasy. Thank you very much, says Joe Twyman. Now Chris Goodwin is going to tuck in behind and see what he can do, but Twyman, he's taken the brave tablets.
Yeah, he's got the Lotus twin-cam engine in his car, so it's not blessed with too much torque in these conditions. It's nicely balanced. The BMW cars are quicker in the dry, but the twin-cam one, there's the Brabham coming around. That's Sam Thomas passing Max Bartel down at Lavant Corner. They're slithering around low place, these lightweight sports cars.
And look how Mark Owen in the pale blue and orange car is trying to pick off. It's Andrew Hibberd ahead of him, but he is definitely gaining places as he did last time around. But what a lap for Joe Twyman.
Absolutely so impressive. He's been great in historic Formula 1 cars. Drove one brilliantly at Monaco this year. Bruce, you'll have seen that.
I did. I was looking out the window. It was fantastic. No, he's really having a very good season. Mentioned number 21, that's Mark Owen running in 4th place at the moment. He's going to see what he can do about Hibberd up ahead of him. But look, in fact, that's 5th place because up front, Joe Twyman already quite a gap over Chris Goodwin, the little white Lotus with the 2 red stripes up the nose. That started on pole position, looked pretty well set, but that wasn't taking into account Joe Twyman. What a charge from the number 16 Elva.
Just amazing. Twyman leads then by 2 seconds from Goodwin. Newell is 3rd. Hibberd is back to 4th. And so the 3 Lotus 23s running together there. Behind them is Mark Owen in the blue and orange Golf-coloured Elva with the BMW engine. Behind him is Sam Thomas now in the yellow Brabham. And behind Sam Thomas, 18, is Max Bartel in the ex-Keith St John Radio London.
Interesting,
Elva.
Marcus, interesting. Sam Thomas takes quite a different line to the others in the early part of the lap down to Ford Water. Whether he's wise or wrong, but he's certainly gaining places. Andy Newell still that great battle.
He's a local-based guy, so he probably has some good good knowledge of the track.
Yeah, well, he's gaining certainly the yellow Brabham closing right in on Mark Owen, and the little blue and orange Elva. Down they go into the dip out of St Mary's. You can see the yellow Brabham on the charge. Great looking car to my eyes. A little bit bulkier than the Elva and the Lotus, but there's something about it really appeals to me.
It's got nice lines, hasn't it, Bruce? I think that's it. It's a nice shape.
Very, very much so, Kevin.
And Mike Wrigley's in the pits with the Merlin Mark IV. It's actually a Mark IV T. It's the car that Clive Lacey raced here and won here in period.
Well, Mark Owen shaping up for a move, trying to get third place off Hibberd. Can he do it? Well, down to Woodcote they go, but Hibberd braver into the corner and opened out the gap again. So maybe a slight mistake coming onto the straight there. Now Hibberd having a look up the inside for third place on Andy Newell. Will he do it? Not in the first part of the corner, backs off in the second part. And this little battle allows Chris Goodwin to eke out an advantage in second place. And if anything, is he getting closer again to Joe Twyman?
Maybe, yes. I think Goodwin's now established where there is some grip. I mean, Joe Twyman's first flying lap of 1:58 was 35 seconds away from where Goodwin had been on pole. As they come through then for the third time, it's down to, well, it's just a little bit nicked back. It's still just over 2 seconds.
Yeah, but I think interestingly, Marcus, Chris Goodwin in the third and final sector, the fastest
a
sector.
spin off for Mark Owen. We've got Hibberd had got past Newell, and he's just nudged the tyre wall, got hook reverse. And there was a photographer capturing the whole thing as it came towards him. Lotus 23's still battling, and Andrew Hibberd now ahead of Newell. That happened up towards Madgwick. He ran really quite wide at that point, but spinning in the background, which the camera man picked up really, really well, was Mark Owen in 21.
It seems even wetter at the back of the circuit than it was a few laps ago. Chris Goodwin has got company because he's got Hibberd, Newell, or Newell and Hibberd in that order, and Sam Thomas now pulling off. I thought there was a big gap behind that battle, with Mark Owen having dropped out. Max Bartel's dropped back a bit, so suddenly the first four well clear of the rest. 12 and a bit minutes remaining.
Oh, he's changed his mind. He's got it back going again. Yeah,
and actually Mark Owen's just come past my commentary position, so the Fallen have kept going. That is good news.
He may just have knocked the ignition switch off, the fuel pump off, or something like that. It's very easy to do in these cars, Sam Thomas.
Well, he's running around the car behind number 19, Mike Malone, so he's lost a lot of ground, down in about 15th place.
Trio of Lotus 23s. Don't make a Lotus 69, by the way, but they are working really well. And the black one's closing on the white and red one of Goodwin, and they are certainly a little closer, I would say, to Joe Twyman out front.
Yeah, but Hibberd's got past Newell on this lap. It's been quite a battle.
That was at Madgwick, yeah.
Pretty confusing for the two of us, or the three of us, with the two cars such a similar livery.
Newell did really well there, because he actually almost got on the grass coming into Woodcote, and somehow not only kept it on the road, but actually closed on Hibberd, so right on the limit there. And he's having a look as they come down into Madgwick, but he's had to slot back in behind. But Goodwin looks like he's going wide, but he's kept it in as well. Those three have closed back up together, and Twyman's lead is now out to 3 seconds.
Goodwin is just the neatest of that trio, as you would expect, of course. As I say, that the tail kicks out, and Andy Newell, who's has no fear of the throttle pedal, he gets better traction and closes right in and goes past Hibberd. Now, let's see, this little scrap will delay the two.
Hibberd's carrying more speed on the outside, though, Bruce.
Yeah, it's a question of where they next have to get round a corner.
And he's kept it.
He has kept it. Well, I thought that was a done and dusted move. So, leading into St Mary's, but tiptoeing around the corner is Joe Twyman. This is a very tricky part of the circuit, and behind them, the next three.
Oh, Arnie BLACK spun.
Well, all those years, decades of experience, and just got a little bit offline, Arnie BLACK. Round he goes in the 17 Crosley. Back in front of Mark Owen, who had his own spin not so long ago. And what we're seeing, of course, once you get off the black stuff onto the green stuff, it's super, super slippery, and that was a double pirouette.
It's a double axle.
Andy Newell still giving chase of Andrew Hibberd, and getting closer and closer and more sideways. He drops back, he closes in again.
Hibberd got the fastest lap of the race last time round.
Ah, yes. 1 minute 56.9.
Yeah, 7 tenths quicker than the race leader, but their battle is intensified. Up the inside comes Hibberd into into Woodcote Corner. He runs wide, he gets onto the grass. Both the Black Lotus 23s are on the grass, and they are both regaining the track now in the same order. But Hibberd, unfortunately, having got his nose into second, has slipped back there.
Well, they both seem to have the pace to catch and get onto the tail of Chris Goodwin. That's bought Chris a little more time, but the sheer depth of those puddles off over the curbs just shows how much rain we've had in the past 25 minutes. There was the race leader, Joe Twyman, 3.8 seconds clear. Then Chris Goodwin in second place, 1.25 seconds clear of this scrapping battle. Hibberd and Newell over third place.
Here's the repeat of it, and you'll see from different angles now how that all happened. Going in very quickly, Andy Hibberd, and Andy Newell also out on the grass, so that didn't really work, but it was a good effort while it lasted, and that was certainly spectacular. And they stayed in the same order, the black cars. Here we are again from the inside, and Hibberd at that point realised he'd made just about the apex, but he wasn't going to keep the car on the island.
That was a classic case of following what's happening ahead of you, wasn't it, for Andy Newell? Very nearly went to the same scene of the accident.
Exactly. It's very easy to do that when you're in a race car. You can do the lemming move and just follow the person off, and they've gone off, and oh, you're off as well. Happens. But that was very spectacular, very well caught by the three different camera operators.
But of course, Chris Goodwin will be under pressure all along, and a lap later he's got company again.
Yeah, and they're all together, the 323s, second, third and fourth. Coming up to lap, Carol Kinnew driving the Uni Park-owned Lotus 23, I think that is.
You can't fault Andy Newell for trying. He goes left, he goes right, he puts the power down before either of those two cars ahead of him do, but then the car goes sideways, and Andrew Hibberd just that little bit neater. Chris Goodwin seems the quietest one of the three
outside
at the front, but round the outside this time, Andrew Hibberd staying on the track. Not
deal
at all, not a bit of it.
This time he's had a slightly better exit, but he's on the curve again, and Goodwin's going to get him back going into the chicane. But no, he's come back again. Unbelievable round the outside, and that was very dramatic. But all the time, of course, Joe Twyman metaphorically rubbing his hands together. He's escaping up front.
Absolutely, his lead is now almost 6 seconds.
So how long will Andy Newell stay behind Chris Goodwin? Well, the answer is, as I said, no time at all, because up into third place now, the driver with the yellow helmet in that little battle of the Lotus 23s, car number 36, Andy Newell. Now, can he do anything about Andy Hibberd? Hibberd was so brave down into the chicane, and I'd say Chris Goodwin being just that little bit cautious ahead of them, and let him do that.
Of course, Hibberd's done an awful lot of testing here over the last few years. They come here regularly with their customers, Andy Hibberd and his father, Mike. You can see around the outside, like a buffalo girl, as they say, and he slides off.
Chris Goodwin must have been thinking, same old, but the fact that Hibberd just didn't lift off, just kept on going through the puddles, the deep water, the low water, and Andy Newell at this point, coming up into the chicane, might be thinking they could clash and I could go through. He backed off that little bit, but Goodwin, being very much the gentleman, let Andy Hibberd.
Not far behind them is Max Bartel with the number 18. Up the inside into Madgwick comes the Andy Newell car, past number 7.
Yes, Goodwin doesn't look that confident on the brakes, does he? Because he really could have made the chicane his own there.
Bear in mind that Goodwin drives that car about once every 3 seasons. Yes. The other two guys race them all the time. And that's Jim Morris, isn't it? With his Lotus, he's wiped the side pod off that, but he's going to continue back to the pits. Here are Hibberd and Newell. Their battle for second place now continues. Now, is Hibberd going to make the exit of the corner for the first time in 3 laps? I think he is.
Looked positively pedestrian by comparison to his last efforts there, didn't it? But he stayed on the track.
Yeah, he did some braking, apparently. So these two, they've been at it since the first corner on the opening lap. At the moment, it's Andy Hibberd ahead of Andy Newell, but it's very tight indeed. And Chris Goodwin really does seem to have dropped off their tail. He was ahead of them at just about a lap ago, and now he's back down into 4th place. Joe Twyman round into the first part of Madgwick.
But they've taken a second back. Newell. They've taken a second back, and Newell has the fastest lap of the race, a 1:56.5, 1.4 seconds quicker than Twyman. 5 3/4 minutes still to go. So we're on for another 3 laps. This might have some life in it yet, this race.
And Bartel was right with Goodwin as they came past us as well. So by the time they get to Bruce, he might be in a position to make a move.
Might not be able to see him in the spray, but certainly that battle for second place, very lively. Mistake going out of Madgwick by the chaser, by Andy Newell. That's bought a little bit of time for Andy Hibberd. Out front, though, coming into the first part of St Mary's, is our race leader, Joe Twyman. He just seems to be driving with no histrionics at all. He's driving a very quiet race at the front of the field, but he might have to be given a move on by his team crew, because certainly Hibberd and Newell are coming back after him. Chris Goodwin still holding on to 4th place, but you can just see in the background of the shot Max Bartel right on his tail in the Elva. Number 36 though, big on the screen at the moment, big for entertainment. Andy Newell in 3rd place.
Yes, it's interesting that Twyman's fastest lap actually is a second slower than Newell's fast lap that he's just set, but he's just been so much more consistent, not getting himself into a fight. Those first couple of laps, yeah, up alongside.
That was brave around the outside of the kink. He's trying to force himself in. He doesn't like Andy Hibberd pulling back in front of him, going back towards Woodcote Corner. Down towards the Super Shell building they go. Second apex, and a lot of braking on the lead car, but he's got it round. Hibberd's run nicely through the centre of the corner, in fact, and he's dropped Newell by about 3 lengths at this point, but they've got back markers as the DRW of Rudolf Ernst.
Okay, the gap last time on the start-finish line between Joe Twyman, number 16, leading the race, and the chasing pack was 5 seconds. It's now 4 seconds, exactly 1 second removed by Andy Hibberd and Andy Newell. You have to mention them in the same breath. They've been tied together as if by a short piece of rope since the outset of the race.
The Handy Andys, they're still chasing down Joe Twyman. They're going to get up to the DRW with the 1-litre Hillman imp engine, and also the number 1 Elva, which is Mark Midgley, who we normally associate with Aston Martins.
Bartel was very close to Goodwin again as they came out of Madgwick, but didn't see whether he'd actually managed to make the move. But it might be clearer to you, Bruce, if you can see through the spray.
Very hard to tell, I'm afraid. Joe Twyman looks almost though he's on his in-lap. He just doesn't make any fuss as he goes around St Mary's, but the 2 behind are really pushing that little bit harder. Andy Hibberd in 2nd place. He was 4.0 seconds down at the start of the lap. There on the big screens, number 16, Joe Twyman, leading the way, but the 2 behind are coming after him. Andy Hibberd and Andy Newell getting closer all the time. And don't forget who's got the fastest lap in the race. It's Andy Newell in 3rd place. But Joe Twyman right now, those Dayglow stripes on his helmet, just standing out in the murk.
Yeah, 2 3/4 minutes to go. So they're going to get this lap. And, well, they may get 2 more. And here comes Newell again. This time a much earlier challenge. He goes through on the inside down towards Woodcote Corner.
And he did enough to cover the inside to not let Andy Hibberd think he had a chance of getting back. So down through the penultimate corner into the chicane. They go through the deepest of puddles on the outside of the circuit. We had a trawler here on the outside of the circuit last year. Almost applicable this time. But Andy Newell sideways as he exits the chicane onto what will probably be the penultimate lap.
Yes, it will. And so that's good news from the point of view of a battle.
3.5 seconds is now the gap to Twyman, so it'd be interesting if now can Newell go quicker now that he's not following Hibberd and really homing on Twyman. There's only 2 laps to go, but he has had a faster lap that's a second faster, so he's got to find a little bit more.
Goodwin has just been passed around the outside in traffic down at Madgwick. The number 1 entry was right in front. That's Mark Midgley in his Elva, and Chris guessed rather wrongly, and certainly Max Bartel in the Elva, very, very positive. The number 18 with the BMW engine round the outside. Thank you very much. Yep. 4th place.
Good for Max, and he's driving very, very nicely. Historic Formula Ford, historic Formula 3 racer. He's won a race in his Elva this year at Brands Hatch in the Guards Trophy. And Newell, fastest best sector of anybody. He's 3.5 seconds behind.
He's got a bit trapped around the outside of number 15, the first lap spinner at St Mary's.
Yeah, but look how close he's got.
He would have been closer. His chance to take another 2/10 at least off Joe Twyman. But Joe will be monitoring this. 1 minute left on the clock until the checkered flag has to come. So it's this final quarter of a lap and the next lap. And the rain, is it coming down harder? It was on the lens of that camera. There are our first 2. Look at twitchy Newell.
The rain came down in torrents, as the poem went.
And Twyman sideways out of Levant there. He can see the threat coming very rapidly now. So can he get back on it? Can he get his lap times any quicker? He's taken a huge amount of time out of him on this lap as Andy Newell.
Taken best part of 3 seconds
Absolutely.
out of him, hasn't he?
But what we've seen all race is Andy Newell gets the power down very, very early, and sometimes it leaves the tail kicking out and he has to come off the power or loses the momentum.
Yes, out of the chicane particularly, the car fishtails quite a lot, doesn't it, Bruce?
Yeah, he's pushing the pedal right through the floor pan, but you can just see now he's locked on. If he was a heat-seeking missile, he is certainly seeking number 16.
It's going to be fastest lap by a mile, I think, this time round.
Is he going to enter 1 minute 54s? 1:55.095. Well, there you go. That was nearly into the 54s. But what we need to know, it's 3/4 of a second. 0.768 of a second is the gap between Joe Twyman leading Andy Newell. All those laps fighting with Andy Hibberd. He's got clear. And now he's closing right in on the race leader. Both of them so sideways, but Andy Newell is the king of sideways in number 36. Giving chase. Will he get to the front?
Yeah, the former off-road champion chasing down Joe Twyman. He's got to bide his time, I feel, here. Just make sure he picks his way through any other cars that are around.
3 back markers ahead, weren't there?
Yeah. Exactly so. The 3 back markers just going through St Mary's. And at the entry to St Mary's, oh, it's probably just half a second. Looks like Joe Twyman is managing to hang on, but a better exit. Oh, too much of a twitch there. Went just slightly towards the edge of the circuit, Andy Newell. Had to lift very slightly, and that's allowed Joe Twyman to just make good his escape, but he's still got half a lap to go.
It's the group of cars ahead. I think is it Black and Malone, people like that in there? I think it may well be. Oh, and now it's one of the Merlins onto the grass. It's Mark Perry, I think, at the back. There's a spun Lotus 23 on the inside.
I think.
Kubota, I think. Yes, number 11. Katsuaki Kubota has another gyration. And here they come then, the leaders. This is the final lap of the Madgwick race. The Madgwick Trophy down towards Woodcote Corner they go. They're going past, they've got Steve Tillack's BRM Power Brabham ahead of them. They go either side of Steve Tillack and into the braking area. There's another car in front of them.
Well, you have to feel that Joe Twyman is going to have a very big smile on his face. He should be able to hang on. Is this Lotus in front going to interrupt their pace?
Oh, no, there's a collision. And another bang, and it's number
10, that's
10, Stuart Tizard. Stuart Tizard there gets involved in it, but it's going to be Joe Twyman who comes up to take the victory.
Wow. How did he miss the Ferrari? Missed the Ferrari. That was a heart-in-mouth moment, not just for Richard Miles, but also for Joe Bamford as he saw it getting closer and closer.